Hello and welcome to my online tour of Des Moines Area Community College's website. What I'm going to go through are some questions that I am most frequently asked by students, either when I'm in the AAC or just even teaching. So join me for the ride. All right, I'll start with, first of all, I expect that most of you know how to get into Blackboard, how to access your email, and how to log into Web Info System. But I want to go through some more specifics there that you might not be familiar with. So the first thing I'm going to do is log into email. Obviously, you click on the student's site, and yours might look a little bit different. So once I'm in my email, something that I think a lot of people don't realize, well, for one, you can create a lot of different folders, which you can see I've done here, and I won't go into details on that. You have options up over here, which is why I have this leaf setting. You have a calendar that you can actually add events, meetings, appointments, everything to, and it will actually give you reminders. So if you wanted to set something new up, put it in here, tell it to give you a reminder, and you're all set that way. And back to mail. Now this is one of the important things that I think a lot of students don't know. First of all, if I want to send an email, let's say I don't know someone's email address, I think a lot of you will notice that it will automatically populate or come up with suggestions for people that you have sent an email to recently or that you frequently send emails to. But let's say I don't know someone's address and I need to send them an email, but I know their name. I can go ahead and click on any one of these. These are links, so my to, or my carbon copy, or my blind carbon copy. Blind carbon copy meaning other people that I send it to will not know that I've sent it to that person. But I'm going to click on the to, and let's say I want to send something to my boss, but I can't remember what her email address is. And of course I do, but I do remember. But in case I didn't, I can put her name in there, Sharon Bittner. And there she is. She shows up, Director of Program Development. I want to select her and push on the to button there, click OK. And ta-da, she shows up in the to box. So that's something that I think a lot of students don't know. Let's say, you don't have your syllabus handy, but you need to send something to a professor. That's the way to do it. You also have this Find Someone button up here. And then a filter button would be something else you might want to be familiar with if you're someone who needs to change your filter so that you get, well, that you don't receive certain emails, or that all of your emails come in from another, let's say you have a Gmail or a Yahoo or a Hotmail account, so that all of those emails come into your DMACC email. You can do that. So there's a lot of different settings that you can play around with, just like you would with any other email. I think the calendar is a really nice added feature. Something else that I am most often asked deals with final exams. And for whatever reason, it seems to be hidden. If you didn't know where to find the final exam schedule, you could always put it in your search bar here. But let me just go ahead and show you where to find it. What you're actually looking for is the academic calendar. And if you come up here to About DMACC and click down here on Academic Calendar, you'll have all these important dates that you want to be very familiar with and cognizant of every single semester, that the dates that I highly recommend that you write down in your planner or put into your phone or into any calendar that you keep, so that you are aware of things like add and drop dates, last dates to add or drop, or last date to withdraw from classes. And then the final exam schedule is listed here. The summer schedule for right now is not very confusing, but most of the time during fall and spring semesters, it is kind of confusing to read. A couple things you're going to want to know. All exams, all final exams are scheduled for 2 hours. Whether or not you use that, you or your instructor uses that full 2 hours, is up to the instructor and up to you, I guess. But they are all scheduled for 2 hours. The other thing to be aware of is that when you're looking at this, you want to look at it as, okay, my class meets on which days and at what time period do I start? So if my class time range is from 8 o'clock to 10:05, and we meet on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule, then my exam time is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Tuesday, July 29th. Okay, so that's the way to read it. When you look at it for fall and spring, it's going to show you probably, how it has been in the past, has just been set up sort of in tables. So that's something to be aware of and make sure that you know how to read that schedule. Something that I often get asked too is, oh, how do I know what things are going on? I'm supposed to attend an event, or I need to attend a lecture, or something going on campus. How do I find out about those? All that's right down here. Usually it'll come up under announcements if it's that week, but it'll definitely be under events, and then you can actually click on more events and see DMACC's big schedule of events. So that's something, again, just to be aware of. Other things that I get asked about would be, well, the schedule. Most students, I believe, are familiar with that, but I'll kind of walk through that. Programs, this is where you access your PIB, or Program Information Brief. I won't go through those. The advisors can help you with that, but those are things you are definitely going to want to be familiar with. Next, let's go back to the schedule. Catalog is listed there. So courses and programs, student services, all of these, if you're ever looking for anything, I recommend scanning through these first. That's usually your best bet. Now, a lot of students will go here to see what classes are being offered, when they're offered, and then just kind of before you register, this is kind of a good place to start. You can, of course, look up classes in the web info system, but I recommend just going here just to kind of see what's out there. So let's say I want to see what fall classes are offered at the Ankeny campus. I could further limit my search, but for now I'm just going to do this. I'm going to come all the way down. You know, again, you can limit your search by doing these things up above here. Okay, so let's say I want to find out when my favorite professor is teaching. Okay, I can do Command F for all of you Mac users. If you're a PC user, do Control F, and then it gives me this little search bar down below here, and I can type my instructor's name in there. Let's see, look, I am listed as teaching prep reading too, because I'm teaching that in the fall. So that's one way to do quicker searches once you have all the class lists. A few things to be aware of. Again, I'm going to scroll up so that you can see this stuff up here. This is important information up here. So cost, tuition, and books. Tuition is an estimate books. So long as the books have actually been ordered, and now we're a little bit ways off still for fall, so I can't guarantee that the books listing is up to date. But if this is close to the start of a semester, it should be up to date. So you could even go there and see how much your book would cost, what the book is, and do all of that stuff ahead of time. Location, obviously that is where your class takes place. Again, you can find that out on the web info system once you've registered for the class. But if you're thinking, oh, I have these two classes that are really close, can I get from one building to the other? How far apart are these buildings? Is it feasible for me to make it and not be late to my class every day, which you definitely don't want to do? You can take a look at the location. Again, it's subject to change, so sometimes there's just no way of knowing. Start and end dates would be another thing that are important to pay attention to, because sometimes we do offer 10-week courses. So like last semester, I taught a 10-week study strategies course. So watch for those kinds of things as well. Days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the MWF, T is Tuesday, and R is Thursday. I used to get a lot of questions about that. What does that R stand for? Seats available. So these are how many people are, it's not necessarily how many people are enrolled, but how many seats are still open. So if that starts getting down to single digits and you want to make sure you get in that class, it's a good idea to register for it as soon as possible. Credits and section, those things are kind of arbitrary. They're just kind of set. You do want to know, obviously, your credit load, so make sure that you're taking the number of credits you need to be full-time, part-time, whatever. The CRN is something that you probably don't need to be super familiar with, but I do recommend knowing it and kind of keeping track of those for your individual classes. One, for when you're on Blackboard, it's just kind of easier to spot the CRN. Sorry, what that stands for is course registration number. And then the other reason I recommend it is when you are just kind of looking at these courses, it's a good idea to write those down, because when you get into the web info system, it makes it a lot easier to register for your classes, because you can plug in all of your CRNs at once and then you're registered for all of those classes. So I think that's a really easy way. A couple of other things that I want to go through are the library. Where is the DMACC library? How do I access it? Okay, it's listed here. Log in, renew books. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do here. There's videos, online streaming, all sorts of things you can do. If you have not ever used your DMACC one card, your Higher One card as your library card, make sure that you can do that, and you can get information about how to do that here, how to kind of register it. So if you ever can't find anything, and let's say I want information on the Academic Achievement Center, I can just type it in here, if I can spell it right. Put it in my search bar, I can search it, I can find it. And this will give me information. I'm just also going to talk about tutors if you need to request a peer tutor. List the hours by subject. And if you go here, you'll see a picture of the awesome people at the Ankeny campus, and there's me. All right, one more thing that I want to do, actually there's two more things, is click here on the login, go to the web info system. These other things, again, you're probably familiar with. You probably don't need most of it. If you need your password reset, either there or tech support up here. Tech support is going to be a very good friend of yours. Please become familiar with them and where they're located on your campus. I visit them often, and I consider myself pretty tech savvy, so they're very helpful people. But web info system is the thing I want to talk about next. So, and if you, on that previous screen, it doesn't actually matter where you click if you're under student or faculty. It's going to take you to the same spot. So I have a fake student that I'm going to log in here. So you can kind of get a feel for it, because my login screen looks a little bit different than yours would. But a few important things: if you ever need to change your PIN, your security question, update your personal email address, your phone number, your address, your emergency contact information, or anything that's personal information, you're going to want to do that here. Okay. For the most part, the student services, and I believe when you are an actual student who gets financial aid, you have another category here that's called financial aid, which I really wish showed here so that I could show you around, but I think I can talk us through it. So we'll start with student services. Okay, so in student services, and again, this might not be exactly the way that your screen appears, but it should be something close to this. Student records is really important because if you have a hold on your account, you won't be able to register. So you'll be able to click on that and see what holds are on your account. I often get asked, where do students see their grades? I hear students who have graduated from DMACC and they don't even know what some of their grades were. So you're going to want to check the web info system pretty regularly, especially at the beginning and end of the semester, and then during registration time as well. And anything with financial aid, you'll also see here. Transcripts, if you ever need to order a transcript or see an unofficial transcript, you can do that here. Again, registration. So registering for your classes. You can check your registration status to make sure you can actually register. You can look up classes, add or drop your classes. And this is what I was talking about with going in and adding your CRNs. So again, you can look up classes just through the web info system, or you can just go in, add those CRN numbers, and it's really quick. You can print out your summary schedule, you can print out your detailed schedule, you can look at both of those and see how they appear. Pay your bill, purchase your books online, and then you also have the link to the DMACC course catalog. So again, student accounts, here's where you can see kind of tuition and things, see what you've been charged, see what your payments are. So all that information is there. Again, the financial aid one, you should have that on your end if you've ever gotten financial aid. And you'll be able to see your award summary by term, by aid year. You'll be able to either decline or accept all of your award amount, or you can accept just a certain amount. I'm trying to think what else. There's a lot of really useful information about financial aid that I know I've gotten a lot of student questions about. So be sure to check that out on the web info system. Another one that I don't see showing up here, Alex, that's a new math placement test and other test scores. You can view those here. But something else, yeah, that's all account stuff. You're going to get tax information, check out your payment plans and stuff. But I believe it's under student services normally. That would be your degree audit. And that's where you can run a degree audit and figure out which classes you have yet to take in your program. And if you're not sure what your program is, usually you can figure that out pretty quickly. I think it's under your registration information. So this tells me I have no holds. But I do have I have seen a lot of students who don't actually know what program they're in. So if you don't know that, you can find it out. Look at this, Associate in Arts, just a liberal arts AA degree. So you can figure that information out through here as well. But a degree audit would be another thing that you would see, I believe, on your end, which can be really useful. So I'm going to go ahead, exit out of here. I also mentioned tech support. It's really useful. There's a lot of information over here, training, calendars, and all sorts of things. Or training documents, excuse me. So if you're not familiar with some particular program or software, you can usually find out. They're available. You can email them, you can call them. They can take remote access of your computer. So they're really great. Just if there's any information that you are curious about or that you need help with, if you ever need to reset any of your pins or passwords, you can do all of that here on the tech support site. Forms is probably one of the last places that I want to walk you through. So the reason why I want to walk through this is because so many students say, I need to fill out this form, or I heard about this form, where do I find it? Anytime that you think there's a form that you need to fill out, check it out and see if it's here under the forms page. So some of the most common ones students ask me about are the drop add forms. So you'll notice it didn't show up under add drop, but if you keep going, drop add form, here it is, click on it, print it out, fill it out, send it. Okay, and so many of the forms that you would ever need are here. I mean, a lot of these you won't actually have access to as a student, but there are a number of them that you will, like application for graduation. That's something you are definitely going to need at some point. Appeal of final grade, that's here. Appeal of an academic misconduct allegation. Hopefully you don't ever have to do those, but if you do, here's where you find it. If you ever got involved in a bad situation or you knew of someone who did and you just wanted to report it, all of those things are kept confidential, but there's a form for it and you can find it here. Okay, so I just want you to be aware of those things. If you've heard of a form that you need to fill out, this would be the place to start looking. And then, of course, if you have questions, you can always ask your instructor or someone else. All right, that concludes this online tour. I hope it helped, at least with some of the most frequently asked questions. I know I didn't go through everything, but there is so much to the DMACC website. Thanks for watching.